my name is Gabby Cantorna from the Exeter Chiefs, and you're watching the Women's Rugby Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show. I'm Sam, by the way, and I'm back today with another Discussions with a Cuppa video. Unfortunately, this isn't our second Olympic Sevens preview. That'll be coming later this week. But today we are looking at World Rugby's announcement that came out this morning. If you haven't seen or heard already, essentially World Rugby have unveiled a 6-point plan to cement their ambition to become the most progressive sport on player welfare. Before we take a deeper dive into this 6-point plan, make sure you like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and also check us out across all social medias. If you don't like that, well, let's get into the video. So like I mentioned in the introduction, World Rugby have released this plan as they aim to become the most progressive sport in player welfare. And what's great for us in the women's game is that there's a specific focus on the women's game at the heart of this 6-point plan. World Rugby say they'll continue to engage, listen and consult to secure the growth of the game, and everyone in the game will have a say and a role to play. They also say that the first series of initiatives include new global law trials with a continued focus on player welfare, and these will be introduced from the 1st of August, and the introduction of an independent concussion consultant to support the elite games graduated return to play protocols. So let's take a look at these 6 points before we take a deeper dive into point 4, and that is the dedicated focus on the women's game. So World Rugby's plan follows 6 points, and the first of these is a focus on former players, with the sub-point advancing best practice in care, information, education and support for former players struggling or concerned about their health. Point 2, innovation led by science and research. Doubling investment in player welfare, including working with a wide range of scientific institutions to continue to research and advance our understanding of the impact of head injury. World Rugby will continue to bring together a variety of scientific perspectives on concussion in sport to learn from each development in the science, and focusing investment into concussion and head impact in rugby studies in particular. This means further targeted investment in research and technology to improve player safety and optimise head injury assessments and the application of the graduated return to play protocols. Point 3 is continue to review and involve the laws of the game to safeguard players. The two initiatives announced today, with global law trials and the introduction of an independent concussion consultant, are the first of a series of actions planned in this area. This includes a dedicated focus on a more flexible approach at community level, as well as a global forum on the game later this year, and acting on the outcomes of the groundbreaking study by the University of Otago in New Zealand to make any required adjustments at the community and underage levels. The following working groups will continue to monitor their respective specialist areas: head contact process, breakdown, TMO, scrum and community law. Point 4 is a big one for us, a dedicated focus on the women's game, where they will recognise both the growth potential and unique nature of women's rugby. Measures will include dedicated research and investment across community and elite women's rugby, and a women's game specific law reviews. Point 5 is continued investment in education. World Rugby will strengthen the provision of information, tools and resources to everyone involved in the game when it comes to head impacts and player welfare. This will include a new recognise and remove head injury education programme and app, a best practice safe tackle technique programme for the whole game, and a rollout of the Activate injury prevention warm-up programme with proven concussion and injury prevention benefits across all unions and regions. And finally, an open engagement with the rugby family. In partnership with unions, World Rugby will consult widely and deeply across the community and professional game for women's and men's rugby. Where this means embracing non-traditional channels and platforms to reach rugby fans and players, we will do so. As we can see from that 6-point plan, there is a specific focus on the women's game, and here's a little deeper look at that focus, and that is point 4. The first line says, women's rugby is growing globally at a rapid pace, and in line with the transformational 2017 to 2015 World Rugby Women in Rugby strategy, we recognise that women's rugby can and should follow its own path, not just copy what is done in the men's game. This is a key line for the point plan, and it shows that World Rugby know the growth is there in the game, and that the rest of the points are great for the game too. The next points are as follows. We will have a dedicated focus on the women's game, embedded within the laws review process to ensure the game is all it can be for women and girls. We will advance and act upon dedicated injury surveillance within the women's game to reduce the risk of injury. We will act upon the outcomes of the Otago University Head Impact Study and work undertaken by the University of Swansea to implement women-specific injury prevention programmes will increase our research investment in the women's game in addition to annual injury surveillance. We will implement the HIA project at the Women's Rugby World Cup next year and explore feasibility of technology trials to aid the identification, prevention and management of concussion. Having all these concussion protocols and studies that are specific to the women's game is vital for the growth of the game, and it shows how there is care there from the top for the elite level and lower level athletes' welfare. And there it is, our short rundown of the World Rugby statement this morning. What do you think of the 6-point plan? Let us know in the comments and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. I've been Sam, by the way, and you've been watching The Women's Rugby Show.